Glasgow has the highest number of asylum seekers anywhere in the UK.
My parents were killed. If I go back, they will kill me too.
Now the council leader says it's struggling to cope.
It is already fast becoming unsustainable.
And some attitudes are changing in its communities.
We have so many foreign people in our area. Now nobody knows anybody.
On the streets of Glasgow, we've never before seen the Scottish flag used in this way before.
I've been meeting people around this city to find out what comes next. Qasim is from Afghanistan, but he arrived in the UK on a small boat earlier this year. Today he's just been moved into this flat in Glasgow. There are no asylum hotels in this city. In what's meant to be a show of compassion, they're put into shared housing like this instead. Looks like I'll be sharing with 3 strangers, Qasim says, in this 2-bedroom apartment. The problem is there just isn't enough. This is a city that declared a housing emergency 2 years ago, and Glasgow is now, by quite some distance, host to the biggest population of asylum seekers in Britain.
I get moved around in Glasgow, but as an asylum seeker I do get a home. If I get refugee status, I am made homeless and then join a waiting list for permanent accommodation. There are so many refugees here now, it takes a long time.
There are people in this country who would say that you should not be given a home here because you came to the UK on a small boat. There are political leaders saying that you should be detained and deported back to Afghanistan.
I just heard about that. Well, I was 2 years old when the UK bombed my country and told us to help them fight the Taliban. My parents were killed. If I go back, they will kill me too. The legal routes to come here were all blocked. Going on a boat was a risk I had to take.
Glasgow doesn't have asylum hotels, but it has inadvertently created these refugee hostels. If Qasim is allowed to stay here, he'll likely be moved to a place like this, temporary accommodation that's been filled up with the men, women and families who have been processed and given a legal right to live and work here in the UK. This happened after the Home Office began speeding up decisions, giving refugee status to asylum seekers without giving them anywhere to live. Now, unprecedented numbers of these new refugees are travelling from other cities to Glasgow because they know this city is their best hope for a home.
Scotland has particularly liberal homeless legislation. Anyone asking for accommodation here is legally entitled to it, no matter their circumstances, no matter where they've come from. And that is not the case in other parts of the UK. But it has made Glasgow a magnet. And with the influx of so many people in such a short period of time, more than half of this city's homeless accommodation is now being given to refugees.
Almost all of the asylum seekers and refugees in Scotland are in Glasgow.
Refugees are welcome here!
That's because for decades the people and politicians here proudly promoted this place as the nation's only sanctuary city, a welcome home to all. But for the council, that conscience is now coming with a cost.
What we're looking at is around a £90 million budget gap for Glasgow, and about £66 million of that is homelessness overspend.
Is that exacerbated by the pressure that's been brought by refugees coming to Glasgow?
It is significantly created by that pressure, by the pressure of the mass processing of people who are refugees already in the city, and then exacerbated by people travelling from other parts of the UK. So it's a bit of a perfect storm that we've got here.
Glasgow has for years prided itself on being a sanctuary city, a dispersal
Yes.
city. Refugees are welcome here, is what we
absolutely.
hear again. As things stand, are you able to afford to continue to say refugees are welcome here?
This is incredibly difficult to say. We are at the point where we are getting to having to say that. Now, that's not because we don't want to welcome refugees. We want to be able to continue welcoming refugees. What we're saying is, if the UK government doesn't step up to its responsibilities and help us meet our responsibilities, then that is going to become unsustainable. And it is already fast becoming unsustainable.
Words once unthinkable from the leader of one of the most pro-refugee cities in Britain, but attitudes are visibly changing beyond the council chambers here. Anti-immigration protests have reached Scotland. Now Glasgow has its own version of a Raise the Colours campaign that's been seen in England. Partly patriotic pride, partly an anti-immigration message to politicians.
Glasgow's always prided itself on the compassion shown to refugees coming here, but there are signs that is starting to wear thin now. On the streets of Glasgow, we've never before seen the Scottish flag used in this way before, connected to public displays of nationalism and patriotism that we've seen in England, people flying the colours. And as long as the numbers coming here continue to increase, it is testing whether Glasgow can continue as a sanctuary city.
We saw this band of locals carrying their ladders down the main street, flags fresh from the pack, putting their saltires on lampposts concentrated in areas with large numbers of asylum seekers.
What is it that makes you want to come out and do this?
It's just patriotism, mate.
These men did not want to do an interview, but others here told us these flags are intrinsically connected to their city's housing crisis.
I'm glad that people are doing it because I want people to start paying attention.
Ashley, a support worker, lives in a top floor flat here, meaning her disabled partner cannot move in with her and her daughters. They've been waiting years for suitable accommodation.
People have been too scared to stand up for like ourselves because they're seen as being racist, and this is not the case. It is not the case at all. It's nothing to do with that. It's just solely about like us being able to get like help, support, housing, the basic stuff that we need.
But Ashley wants to be clear. The anger is not toward the refugees, but the politicians.
We should be appropriately housed, you know, there's no reason for it in this day and age, but since in the last, I would say 5 years mainly, we have so many like foreign people in our area, like massively.
You would never have regarded yourself as a racist or xenophobic.
Never.
Do you think that you and people in this area are now, part of this flag campaign is showing that you are resentful towards the number of refugees that are coming into your area?
I think they've made us resentful because they've not, see the government, I would say that they've not really, they've just done it. They've not even cracked a light about it, they've not been honest about it, and they've just did it. And the thing is, like, these areas, like, everybody kind of knows everybody, but now nobody knows anybody because the government are just filling them with anybody and everybody, and we don't know these people. And it's not because I'm not racist. I've grew up with all types of people, Muslim, Sikh, you name it, all different types of walks of life. And do you know what? I love them all equally, and I do deserve and understand that these people are fleeing from like a difficult situation in a hard country. But at the same point, we've got our own issues going on.
This flags protest is spreading though. Abdul runs a charity that helps refugees and asylum seekers in Glasgow. He says there are clear concerns the housing crisis is being used to stoke tensions.
I would say this is a small elements of people, unfortunately, like being brainwashed that asylum seekers are responsible for everything wrong in our society, which is not true. These people are asylum seekers and refugees, the vast majority of them are very vulnerable people. They need our support. They need our love. We need to welcome them. They don't need our hate. These people have come over horrific stories, horrific situations in their lives. They're very, very vulnerable. They need our support, not our hate.
Qasim is among the thousands coming here each year now, seeking safety and a future. But when he looks out, he sees these flags lining the streets in his new city, where conscience is in conflict with capacity. Peter Smith, ITV News, Glasgow.